Glenn. You mind if I do your quick intro?
Feel free.
Okay, well, everyone, thank you for joining us on today's Zoom call. I'm Stacy Vines. I am the Director of Membership and Marketing for the Fort Bend Chamber of Commerce. We are a 5-star accredited chamber, and we really appreciate your participation today. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. Everyone is in mute mode right now. We'll be using our chat function for questions. So you can click on the little Q&A symbol there and enter your questions that you might have for Glenn in the chat. If it becomes necessary to speak, if Glenn calls on you, then you can use your space bar if you're on a desktop computer to engage the microphone, press it down, and to release, you'll be back in the mute mode. Otherwise, use the icon that's on your device. So let me introduce our speaker and coach for the day. It's Glenn Smith, who's been coaching business and organizational leaders both nationally and internationally for decades. He's taught graduate level courses on leadership and organizational development and created the Business Acceleration Process, which is a unique and proven process to help business owners grow their businesses while balancing their lives. I could go on Glenn's accomplishments and accolades, credentials, and all those things, but I am going to turn it over to him now so we can get started. Thank you, Glenn.
Well, thank you. It's great to see everybody. I'm glad you're all here with us today. I'm excited about the topic today. I don't know if you, did someone need to say something? Okay.
I think I hear a little reverb, Glenn. We can just keep going.
Okay. So there was some good news I heard over the weekend, and that is both President Trump and Governor Abbott are going to be making announcements this week about the reopening of businesses. And so I'm excited about that. That's positive. I know it's a tension point for our elected officials because on one hand, they don't want to open too fast that there might be a rebound in terms, or a respike in terms of the infections. But at the same time, I know they're very eager to let us all get back to work and doing what we want to do and need to do. So with that in mind, I wanted to just start today by sharing with you 5 ways to jumpstart your business. And I'm only going to take a few minutes to share this with you. And then we're going to turn the rest of the time over to you for just questions and answers. And we've had some questions come in. Stacy's going to share some of those with us. And if you have questions you'd like for us to address or respond to today, please put those in the chat and we'll try to answer those as well. But to begin with, let me share with you some thoughts I've had and have started talking to clients about how to jumpstart your business. So there are many things that we can do, but I want to just give you 5 key ways to get going. And first off, you can start this right now. If you haven't applied for the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, let me encourage you to do that, because as soon as those funds get released, you can re-engage your staff. And I know for many of you, you've had to put them on furlough for a temporary time, but get your staff engaged with you as quickly as you can and start talking to them this week. And my first recommendation is to create a sense of urgency within the team to serve. I'm not talking about creating a panic or creating a fear, but create a sense of urgency. Like this is a new launch or a relaunch of your business. And I would approach it that way with my team and just say, hey, we got a great opportunity here to restart and to refocus and to come out of the gates running. I have a hunch President Trump and Governor Abbott are going to probably do a gradual reopening. And so we're going to see that develop this week. And we'll know more as the week goes on. But start now talking to your staff about reopening, restarting, and create a sense of urgency, not just to reopen, but to serve, to reach your customers, to re-engage your customers, and just talk about your vision for where you want to go for the rest of this year. most of us, our business plans that we put together for 2020 are pretty much obsolete at this point. Not for everybody, but for many businesses they are. So it's a great time to just refocus and create an updated plan for the remainder of 2020. A second thing that I'd recommend in terms of ways to jumpstart your business is encourage your staff to share ideas. You can be having, and I know many of you are, you're having meetings by Zoom, remote meetings with your teams. Some of your people are still working and they're working remotely, but encourage them to share ideas. And this would be a great time to have a daily staff meeting, a daily check-in where you talk about, okay, let's talk about reopening. What did we learn yesterday? And every day, starting again today at 5 o'clock, the president's going to have a briefing. Governor Abbott said he's going to have an announcement tomorrow. And so be updating your team and get them to share ideas. What do you think we can do to re-engage, to market, to get our message out, to serve our customers in new and fresh ways? So encourage your staff to share ideas and get them engaged with you. And then number 3, engage your customers like never before. There are a lot of things you can do right now to be touching your customers and staying in contact with them and encouraging them, and just make it a point that over the next 30 days, we're going to engage our customers like never before. This is also a good time to work on your marketing message. That's one of the things that many times business owners don't spend enough time on. And right now, many of us have a little extra time to think about what is it we're really trying to communicate. And there's a great resource that came out this past year by Donald Miller, a book entitled Building a Story Brand. And that would be a great book to download on Audible or order and read. If you order it, just realize it's probably going to be slow in arriving. So it might be best to just download it on Audible because you can get that instantly. But he gives some great guidance on how to tighten up your marketing message. And so this is a good time to just think about your website copy, your messaging to your customers. What are you saying? What's your staff saying? And tighten up your marketing message. And then finally, write a new marketing plan. If you created a marketing plan for 2020 at the beginning of the year, chances are a lot of it's obsolete right now because of this event. So just start over, create a new marketing plan, and I would approach it just like a new business starting. We're starting all over again, and create your marketing plan. On my website, I have a lot of resources and videos and templates to help you if you need that. They're all free. So I invite you to go to my website, glennsmithcoaching.com, and click on resources, click on courses, and those, like I say, click on the blog. I've got blog articles on your marketing message and your marketing plan. And again, all those resources are free and available to you. And if you do that, and there's anything I can help you with, feel free to email me or to call me. I'm happy to serve you and help you right now as you refocus and restart your business. So I just want to share those 5 things, those 5 ways to jumpstart your business to get us going. And then I'd like to just take the rest of the time to see what questions you have. And Stacy, I know you've got some questions that have come up. You want to start us, and then others can then chime in on questions that they have in the chat.
Absolutely. One question that's come up quite frequently, as we have been navigating through these very strange times, is what is the right approach to new business development? Is there one? And what your thoughts are on that?
Well, there's not one way to approach it, but I think the one thing I would say right now is approach it like you're launching your business all over again. The big advantage all of us have right now is that we have a customer list. We have past customers and clients And so the first place to start is just making sure you contact them, let them know you're open for business, you're ready to serve them, and just make as much of a personal connection as possible. The other thing that this time really affords us with is that this is a great time to think about new ways that we can serve our clients and our customers. And as we contact them, ask them, say, hey, during this period of time, have new thoughts come to your mind of ways that I could help you, or I could serve you, or our company could serve you? And I'm doing that with my clients, and I'm getting some great feedback. So I think I would approach business development on, number one, a very personal level, if possible. I would approach it like we're restarting our business. I would capitalize on our current customer database and our customer list and just start working that list. Those are the people who already trust you. They've bought from you before, and so they will be the easiest ones to re-engage.
Okay, awesome, Glenn. I want to remind everyone that we are using the chat function to enter your questions, and Glenn would be happy to entertain those as they come in. You mentioned in your opening dialogue, Glenn, that having a daily staff meeting is beneficial and helpful to your individual teams. But what are some other ways you can improve or enhance or maintain your company culture while everyone is working remotely?
That's a great question. And that actually has come up several times. I've heard it as well. Many people feel like, if I can't be around my people and we can't be around each other, we lose connection. And there is some truth to that, but if you're intentional with the technology we have, you can stay very connected. I'm thinking about my own family. My kids are all over the country, and right now, we're kind of more connected than we have been because we're more intentional about FaceTiming with each other, about connecting by Zoom. We use Marco Polo. I don't know if you're familiar with that app, but you can do the same thing with your team and your employees, and maintain and even nurture and build the culture of your company. This is a great time to talk about your core values as a company. It's a great time to talk about successes in the past because they laid the foundation for successes in the future. So I would really focus on values. I would focus on relationships with the team. I'd focus on soliciting their feedback and their input. Right now, the intensity level is a little low because we're all kind of waiting to get our businesses running again fully. And I would take this time to ask our staff to give us some input and feedback.
Okay, very good. Now, from a operations perspective, Glenn, what is a pragmatic or, I guess, feasible way to forecast, for the upcoming quarter?
Yeah, that's the $64 question. Nobody knows. The way I've approached it I remember back on March 23rd, I just created some scenarios. We could possibly open after the 15 days, or we could possibly open the end of April or the end of May or sometime in the summer. I think right now we're getting more clarity. The good news is the president and our governor are talking about reopening, and they're talking about a reopening plan. The president's talking about a reopening task force. So this week, I'm anticipating getting more information about some timelines. As I mentioned earlier, I think it's going to be gradual. And so in my business, and what I would encourage everyone to do is anticipate being able to open here in the very near future. And so with that in mind, you know, this week, next week may still be strategy, planning, team building times. And I would look at, depending on what comes out this week, in the next couple of weeks or by the 1st of May at the latest, I would anticipate businesses probably being back open again. Some of this is going to vary from state to state. The different states, they're hitting their peaks at different times. Louisiana hit their peak last week. New York hit their peak last week in terms of number of fatalities and cases per day. Texas, I think, is anticipated to hit our peak around April 24th. That was the last I heard. But the good news, again, is that numbers seem to be coming in lower than projected. And I hope and pray that continues to be the case. So again, I'm very optimistic, and I think we're going to be able to get back to business here pretty soon. So I would use this week and next week probably to build my team, to encourage my team, be talking to them daily, and then putting our plan together for business development, our new marketing plan, and be ready to go at the drop of a hat. Because I think we're going to see it coming here real soon.
Very good. I have noticed a few other attendees who have joined the meeting. Thank you for jumping on. And if you have any questions, you can certainly use the chat function. Glenn, how would you describe the best way to stay in touch in terms of the number of contacts to your current customers or to potential customers? What's too often, what's not enough, since we don't really know how much longer, even if we do have a slow rollout of businesses that can reopen. If you were starting over today, if today was the first chance for you to reach out to customers that you didn't maybe have a current project with, what would be your advice to how often you connect with them?
Yeah, that's a real important point. I've been saying for the last 2 weeks, be contacting your customers and, touching base with them, not to sell to them, just to let them know that you're thinking about them and just stay personally connected to them as much as you can. If you've had a plan or a strategy prior to this event, like I know some of my clients, they have a monthly e-newsletter they send to their customers or clients, or they have some kind of systematic contact touch system, I would say just continue what you've been doing. If you haven't been doing that in your business, I strongly urge you to create a customer contact system. There are great e-marketing tools, Constant Contact, MailChimp, others that I use MailChimp. I think the Chamber uses Constant Contact. And there are other platforms like that available, but hopefully you have your customer database in that e-newsletter system. And if you don't, this is a great time to get it set up and start touching base with them. As far as frequency goes, I would be posting to social media every day. Definitely be using your social platforms. If you're B2C, you ought to be leveraging Facebook. If you're B2B, like I am, you ought to be leveraging LinkedIn. If you just want to try to cover all your bases, use both. So I would use the social platforms that connect with your target market the best. And then I would use the e-marketing tools, e-newsletter. I probably wouldn't overdo it like every day or every couple of days, but I definitely would probably be contacting my customers weekly right now. And honestly, people are kind of getting inundated with COVID emails. So just being sensitive to that. The other thing, Stacy, I think is a great idea is simply ask your customers, hey, I want to stay in touch with you, but I don't want to clutter your inbox, for example, and just say, what would be a good touch point? Is it weekly? Is it every other week? And again, right now, I think with my customers, my clients, just a weekly touch is is meaningful and not too much, but you can do daily posts on social media that everyone can see. And then internally with your team, Christina mentioned in the chat, she uses Slack as a great tool to communicate with her team internally. And so I would say you have some kind of internal platform for talking to your staff, but definitely use your e-marketing and your social media to communicate with your customers.
Very good. I want to mention to everyone on the meeting today that there are a number of resources and replays of the webinars, the bi-weekly webinars that we've been hosting every week that are on the Chamber website at fortbendchamber.com. You would click the divisions tab and go down to business and professional, and you can see a replay of the webinar with Christina Hawkins from Global Specs if you're interested in Slack and some of the other resources. So Glenn, let me ask you, let's say on next Monday, we will start to reopen, as you said, possibly in layers. What would you consider some steps to take to make your staff feel more comfortable being in the environment together, besides, you know, all of the Lysoling and things that people will do? And then how would you make your customers feel comfortable either coming to your place of business, or if you had to go to theirs? What are some of the things you would do or some of the things you would say to make everyone feel comfortable?
Oh, that's another great question. What I have seen in some of the essential businesses right now when I've gone to them is that they have posters on the doors as people go in, just talking about, you know, we are conscious of the situation. We're taking extra steps to keep everything clean and sanitized. I think if you just put a poster, if you've got a retail business or something where people come and go, especially, I would definitely have that right on the door so people know right up front that you're conscious of it, you're sensitive to it, and you're taking steps to, you know, just be careful right now. Eventually we'll get back to what was closer to a normal for us, but right now it's still going to be for a while an issue. Now, when it comes to staff, that can be another issue, because some businesses, particularly some of the fast food businesses, have had staff, you know, sort of basically strike because they don't feel like the employer has given them enough PPE. And that's a challenging thing right now, because if as an employer you want to provide them with masks or gloves or things like that, you might have a hard time finding those supplies. But I would just ask my staff, what are you comfortable with? And most of the clients I've talked to who are continuing their business right now, several of my clients are essential businesses and they need to keep running. They're giving their staff the option, and I've gone into a couple of places of business where I'm working with companies right now, and you'll see some of the employees wearing masks and you'll see some of them not, but you'll see all of them kind of maintaining a social distance and respect. And I'm seeing a lot of hand sanitizer and spray disinfectants and things like that, and things being wiped down pretty frequently. So the big thing is just sensitivity and awareness, and letting people know, both staff and customers, that you're aware, and be flexible, whatever they need or whatever they're comfortable with. The thing that I run into with my work right now is, you know, it's been our custom and habit, anytime I see a new client, we shake hands. And so we're not shaking hands right now. And, you know, we'll walk in and we'll just, you know, raise our hands.
No, this is our Fort Bend Chamber. We're trying to help each other because this guy says our businesses will start opening in a week or two.
Well, Glenn, as we move into our final moments, I just want to remind everyone that there's still a little bit of time to use the chat function if you have any questions that you would like Glenn's expertise, advice, or insight on. And one question we have that is pretty pragmatic, and it's something that many on this call and others are probably facing. What about accounts payable and accounts receivable? Um, what about your
Carson,
account?
what did the governor announce this morning? I'm sorry.
Hey, if everyone could please use the mute so that we can control the background noise, that'd be great. But Glenn, what would be your approach on both sides for your customers who have some maybe outstanding bills with you, and then on the other hand, those that perhaps you may have some challenges meeting some obligations just because of the time that we've been in this stay-at-home order?
Yeah, that's a good point too, Stacy. I think we all have to be open with each other and just talk to each other, whether you're on the receivable or the payable end, either one. You just need to talk to the other party and say, hey, here's where I am. Here's what I think I can do, and just talk about it. The truth is, most of us are all in the same boat right now, so it's not like you look odd or weird if you bring it up. So the big thing in my mind is just talk about it and keep an open communication. And if it's somebody you owe money to, let them know your intent is to pay them, and that if you can work out a payment plan or you have a timeline. Mainly just let them know what they can expect and let them know that you're committed to meeting your obligation. If they owe you money, I think we all have to be somewhat flexible right now. And I know it's hard on everybody, but I was talking to one of my clients this morning. They said, for their clients, they have certain clients that are hit very hard right now. And they said, we found a way to give a temporary reduction in fees. But, it's just a matter of being flexible right now and being open with each other and honest. Stacy, we've had some good comments come in on the chat over here that I don't know if everybody sees the chat, but some good stuff over there. One question is how can, we support our families during these times, and a good way again is offering food and gloves and masks, what we have. There's been good response from the whole community. The one of our members here is talking about offering free tech workshops at low cost. So a lot of resources here through the Chamber, and the Chamber of Commerce has been wonderful in connecting people with resources and needs. So I would say, kind of to wrap up our time, communication with each other right now is key. Don't be afraid to over communicate on a one-on-one or personal level, whether it's needs, whether it's resources you have to share, whether it's about payables or receivables. But right now, just it's been wonderful watching everybody help each other. I want to mention one last thing too, Stacey, and then I'll turn it back to you. Tomorrow there's a noon Zoom meeting on the CARES Act Part 2 with our bankers and CPAs who shared with us last week. And I'm very much looking forward to hearing them tomorrow talk about kind of where things are, the possibility of an addition to the CARES Act funding. I hope that gets passed here quickly. If you're a sole proprietor or self-employed, like I am, they opened up the PPP for us on Friday. And so that's available for sole proprietors and self-employed individuals now as well. But the money is running out, so that's something to keep in mind.
Okay, I'm unmuting myself. Well, Glenn, I really appreciate your time, your expertise, and your willingness to always come in and help our members and our guests. I appreciate everyone's attendance today as well. And as Glenn mentioned, there are a number of resources offered by our chamber in terms of webinars and other opportunities for you to learn and grow and support your own businesses. That CARES Act webinar is tomorrow at noon. If you go to fortbendchamber.com and click the events tab, the calendar comes up and you can click the 12 p.m. session to get the information for that Zoom webinar. And then we will have another webinar on Thursday at noon that focuses on health and wellness, and more information is coming out about that. And then on Friday, we will have our Education Division update. It's a district update with the board president for the Lamar Consolidated Independent School District, Kay Danziger. You can register for that as well. And that begins at 11:30. So again, we appreciate your participation, your interest. And if you are not currently following us on social media, that's another way to stay connected with the resources and opportunities for webinars and other what we hope are helpful resources for you. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. And then you can also go to fortbendchamber.com and sign up to receive our newsletter, to receive information and alerts that way as well. So I want to thank you again, Glenn, for helping us today and being on the call or on the meeting, and my colleague Ryan and Juliet for participating as well. And we thank you very much for your participation.
Thank you all.
Have a great day.